Elon Musk is attempting to expand his business in China. His relationship with Donald Trump is in the spotlight as the US president-elect vows to implement tariffs.
When two superpowers like the US and China are at loggerheads, it takes someone influential with strong connections to both sides to step in. And that person is no other than Elon Musk. With his $400 billion business empire of Tesla, X, SpaceX, and others, Musk is a power player. Interestingly, even though he was the biggest donor to Trump's campaign, he warned President Donald Trump about the dangers of escalating tensions with Beijing. But what doom could a war with China spell on America and the world? Musk's relationship with China. Let's discuss Musk's relationship with China to understand the dynamics at play. Even though Musk has been by Trump's side since the last election, he's been tight with China's ruling class for over 10 years. His 213 million followers on X, formerly Twitter, can back that up. Musk's tweets from the past decade show how his relationship with China has changed and raised questions about his increasing political power. When discussing political power, I mean that Musk is a key player who will be involved in US policymaking over the next 4 years. He's advising Trump and leading the Department of Government Efficiency, a DOGE, a new group about cutting down US spending. At first, when Tesla didn't have any business in China, Musk wasn't too keen on the country. However, his attitude shifted once he started lobbying for a massive Tesla factory in Shanghai, which opened in 2019. Now you see why he will fight tooth and nail for anything affecting his business. Musk's connection with Chinese leaders started in October 2015 when he visited Tsinghua University in Beijing and mentioned that he talked with the government about setting up a factory. Around the same time, he was also trying to win over China on Twitter. By late 2016, he congratulated China on launching a heavy lift rocket, even tagging the official state news agency of the Chinese Communist Party. To show you how much he was into China when a follow-up rocket launch didn't go as planned, he sympathized with the builders and defended Chinese manufacturing against some online criticism. He claimed China's progress in advanced infrastructure is more than 100 times faster than the US. Although he's never mentioned President Xi Jinping by name or commented on sensitive issues like the treatment of Uyghurs in Xinjiang, he often talks about his businesses, Tesla, and SpaceX. Musk rarely says anything negative about China's government. However, it was only on 2 occasions, according to Forbes, that he made 2 specific criticisms. In 2012, he talked about China and Russia vetoing a UN resolution regarding Syria's president, and another was about a crisis in China's real estate sector. Also in 2019 and 2022, he did speak out about certain Chinese policies affecting Tesla, like subsidies for local car makers and the zero-COVID restrictions. Other than those, he didn't go so far as to criticize the government directly. In a nutshell, he has a soft spot for China. He's praised China's infrastructure, high-speed trains, space program, and green energy policies in many of his tweets. It didn't only end there. He even encouraged people to visit China. During his many trips to China, Musk said he was a big fan of the country and would love to visit more often. He even called himself a bit pro-China while chatting with some US Congress members. These comments raise some eyebrows, but they don't seem too concerning. But here is where his support for China becomes questionable. Anyone can respect China without backing the communist government. However, Elon Musk's views on China raise eyebrows. He seems to side with the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, on the Taiwan issue and doesn't exactly support Taiwan's independence. It's surprising since his companies rely a lot on ships from Taiwan. If China took over, he'd be even more dependent on the CCP. But maybe that doesn't bother him. He even suggested making Taiwan a Chinese special administrative zone, where China would have some oversight while Taiwan could keep its political system. This comment isn't the only instance Elon seems to echo the CCP's narrative. In 2020, he said he found the Chinese government quite responsive to the people, possibly even more so than the US. Saying that without any clarification is pretty odd, especially given how China treats the Uyghurs and restricts free speech. Fast forward to 2022, and he made another comment that shows his hesitancy to criticize China. He contributed to a magazine run by the Cyberspace Administration of China, which handles internet censorship there. He claimed he wanted to use technology to create a better future for humanity. While that sounds nice, it's a bit unsettling considering the organization he's working with. China has this huge firewall that cuts off access to certain websites for its people, including Elon Musk's X platform. They erase anything criticizing the CCP, and users get tracked down and punished if they say anything bad about them online. It's puzzling why Musk, who loves to talk about free speech, would write anything for the Cyberspace Administration of China. This organization is known for using tech to crush dissent and limit the freedoms of everyday Chinese folks even more. Either Musk has no clue about what the CCP is up to, or he's ready to toss his beliefs aside if it makes the CCP happy. However, he's not shy about sharing his thoughts on other countries' politics. For example, he's called out Brazil for blocking X and slammed the UK for trying to censor online speech. But when it comes to China, which has an even more Soviet-like system, it seems like he's holding back. In a chat with journalist Barry Weiss, Musk supposedly said that Twitter, now X, needs to be cautious about how it talks about China since Tesla's business could be at stake. I'm sure you've enjoyed what you've watched so far. If so, why don't you subscribe to get notified whenever we release inspiring and educational content like this? Let's return to our story. It's no news that the US-China relations have quite some complexities around it. However, none sparked the flame for Musk as the US-China trade war. This is the very root of the warning he issued to President Trump. What exactly is the trade war about that became so significant to Musk? Clash of interests. The economic relationship between the US and China started to deteriorate in 2016. President Trump aimed to reduce Chinese imports during his first term to balance America's trade. When President Biden came into office in 2020, he mostly maintained this approach and even slapped new tariffs on key sectors. On the other hand, Musk wasn't happy and opposed this idea from the start. He's a big supporter of free trade between the two countries and recently mentioned that we should focus on eliminating tariffs on both sides. Trump, however, clearly disagrees, as his tough stance on China is a big part of his agenda. The Trump tariffs were a key part of his initial tenure as he aimed to support US industries while changing how we trade globally. Trump even called tariffs his favorite word in the dictionary, which shows how important they were to his strategy. By the end of his first term, he had imposed tariffs on various products. While the Biden administration took another look at some of these policies, many of the tariffs stuck around, showing they still play a big role in US trade. Trump boldly claimed, "Trade wars are good and easy to win," reflecting his strong belief in the power of tariffs. China also retaliated with high imports from the US. And so in March 2018, when Trump urged China to cut its trade deficit with the US. At that time, Musk, dealing with some struggles at Tesla, also vented about unfair trade rules. He pointed out that an American car going to China faced a hefty 25% import duty, while a Chinese car coming to the US only had to pay 2.5%. In addition to that, he noted that no American auto company could own even half their factory in China. At the same time, there were 5 fully Chinese-owned electric vehicle companies making a home in the US still. He remained hopeful, saying China has already shown a willingness to open their markets, and I believe they will do the right thing. While Trump didn't respond to Musk at the time, China did. President Xi Jinping announced plans to lower vehicle import tariffs 4 weeks later, earning Musk public applause. Then, in July 2018, Tesla struck a deal with Chinese officials to build its factory in Shanghai, getting low-interest loans from state-owned banks to help with the funding. This made Tesla the first foreign car maker to fully own its Chinese subsidiary. To seal the deal, Musk worked closely with Li Qiang, a top Shanghai official who eventually became China's premier in 2023, sitting right below President Xi Jinping in the Communist Party hierarchy. Musk tweeted about his amazing 3-day visit to China after the deal was finalized, mentioning a profoundly interesting discussion with then Vice President Wang Qishan, who had previously been in charge of the Communist Party's anti-corruption efforts. Since the 2024 presidential campaign kicked off, Musk has been in a tricky spot with some MAGA folks. He's been backing Trump and has shared some pro-China views, which hasn't won him any fans among all the Trump supporters. Though he's toned down his open support for China, Trump's re-election puts him in a tough position. If Trump goes ahead with his plans, it could mess up US-China relations. That will lead to more trade tariffs and international drama, with Europe caught in the middle. Trump promised super high tariffs on goods from China, Canada, and Mexico, where big car companies like GM and Ford have their plants. That puts Trump's electoral America First message on a collision course with Musk's interests. While many Americans voted for Trump because he said he'd lower prices, those tariffs could make things more expensive and hit hard on manufacturing jobs. Even Musk, who's contributed over $200 million to Trump's campaign, will feel the pinch if federal tax credits vanish and new tariffs roll in. That is, unless those rules do not apply to Musk and Tesla, like it does the other automakers. But here's the kicker. China thinks it has a secret weapon to keep Trump's tough policies in check. Our dear Elon Musk. Since his company is pretty reliant on solid relations with China, Tesla can't exist without China, says Cornel Ban, a Copenhagen business school professor looking at electric vehicle investments in China. That fact makes it crucial for Musk to balance his ties with tariff-loving Trump and Chinese officials for his business in the overall U.S.-China relationship. How much influence can he have on Trump's high tariffs? How has Musk responded to those high tariffs? Musk's influence on Trump's China policy. In a post on X, Musk warned that Trump's proposed tariffs might trigger a huge overreaction in the economy and cause markets to crash before things settle down. However, Trump's team thinks that any negative effects from the tariffs will only last a little while. They believe these tariffs as possible advantages are worth the initial downsides. But what implication does the proposed tariff hold? The proposed tariffs would lead to higher prices for consumers. When production and import costs increase, everyday things like electronics, groceries, and cars cost more. Experts say these policies could have cut the U.S. GDP by around 0.64%, and American families are the ones who feel the impact. In fact, in December 2024, Musk played a significant role in the recent failure of the bipartisan spending deal. He pushed Republican lawmakers to turn down the bill, which some House Democrats say was aimed at tightening restrictions on investments related to China. Musk also opposed provisions introduced in a bipartisan stopgap spending bill to avoid a government shutdown. The bill originally planned to ban or require notice for overseas transactions involving China in crucial areas like semiconductors, quantum tech, and AI. It also aimed to expand checks on Chinese real estate purchases near sensitive sites and investigate the risk posed by Chinese-made consumer modems and routers. However, all the China-related parts were removed from the bill. Because of this, Musk has received much praise from Chinese Communist Party officials, especially Zhang Heqing. He is one of many CCP diplomats who have signed up on X to spread Beijing's message. In over 30 posts from December 10, 2024 to January 15, 2025, Zhang called him a visionary tech titan and global icon. However, after Musk played a role in tanking the bipartisan bill to keep the government running, people began questioning how Musk's extensive business interests in China might temper with President Donald Trump's administration. Trump, in response, told a group of conservative activists that he hasn't ceded the presidency to the tech billionaire. Trump shrugged off any idea that Musk was trying to take over. He made it clear that even if Musk had his eyes on the Oval Office, it wouldn't happen because the Constitution says the U.S. president must be a natural citizen, and Musk was born in South Africa. Trump said, "No, he's not going to be president, that I can tell you, and I'm safe." You know why he can't be? He wasn't born in this country. Nonetheless, Trump is not the only one reacting to Musk's actions. Other Americans are reacting too. Steve Bannon, who served as the White House's chief strategist for the first 7 months of President Donald Trump's first administration before Trump discharged him, noted his concerns to Newsweek, saying, "I've always been public about my deep reservations concerning Elon's financial ties to the CCP. The Tesla joint venture underpins his entire business empire, and they control it." Bannon also told Newsweek he doesn't believe that Musk didn't support the bipartisan spending bill over its China provisions. Democratic Representative Rosa DeLauro also said in a December 20th, 2024 press release, Musk's investments in China and connections with the Chinese Communist Party have only increased over the years, with Tesla's Shanghai plant producing about half of its global car production. It's no wonder President Musk isn't keen on a funding deal that includes this provision. On the other side, some Republicans posting against Trump on X remarked, "MAGA folks are just now realizing that Doge was never really about government efficiency. It was actually a way for Elon Musk to push for less regulation, shut down investigations into his companies, and make it easier to grow his businesses in China." Nevertheless, Trump has signaled that his administration will continue its hard approach toward China. That will begin during his first term. Trump has been advised that he could raise tariffs on Chinese goods as early as February 1st. However, what repercussions could Trump's policy have on U.S.-China relations and Musk's billion-dollar business? Potential risks of a U.S.-China conflict. It might seem confusing to some why Musk would back Trump, especially since Trump has been discussing decoupling the U.S. and Chinese economies. Musk also knows that Trump's ideas could hurt his business dealings with China. He could take a hit from this decoupling and increase tension between the U.S. and China. Even though he has his reasons for being in a pact with Trump, that decision comes with its own consequences. By getting so close to Trump, Musk could annoy Chinese officials who might see him as on board with Trump's unpredictable policies. A massive tariff of 60% or more on all goods from China doesn't sit well with Beijing, especially with their economy struggling. Conversely, Chinese officials might view Musk as someone who could help ease the tariff tension. Earlier in 2024, Musk said that Chinese electric vehicle companies would likely dominate the market without trade barriers, but then did a U-turn and stated in May that he wasn't a fan of Biden's new tariffs on Chinese EVs. There's an intriguing back and forth between Musk and China. He needs them for business, but their actions could also potentially hurt his long-term interests. Trump's presidential opponent, Kamala Harris, also discussed the implications of Trump's high tariffs. The Trump sales tax is a term that former Vice President Harris invented to show how tariffs could hit consumers' wallets. She's pointed out that Trump's tariffs will likely drive up prices for everyone. Harris has also clarified this in important states like Michigan, where she talked about how Trump's tariffs would hit the manufacturing sector hard. During a trip to Hemlock Semiconductor in Saginaw County, Harris highlighted and warned voters about Trump's economic record. She pointed out how his administration sold advanced chips to China, suggesting that it only helped boost China's military power and went against what was best for America's security. One example is the $325 million investment in the Hemlock Semiconductor facility, which aims to reduce the company's reliance on foreign suppliers. Harris stressed that growing the domestic industry and ensuring security are top priorities, noting that Trump has criticized these efforts. Not everyone agrees with the temporary pain idea. Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald and part of the Trump-Vance 2025 transition team, agrees with Musk on this issue. In a CNBC chat, Lutnick mentioned raising tariffs on certain products would make imported goods more expensive. He admitted that if something isn't made locally, the only option is to pay more. Senator J.D. Vance, Trump's vice, seems to share this view. He believes that any extra money consumers might spend at the store could be balanced by potential wage increases. Vance argues that in the grand scheme of things, you're ultimately much better off, insisting that any short-term pain could lead to long-term gains. What U.S.-China relations will look like under the new Trump administration in the coming years is unclear. While Elon Musk presents a friendly face, will he work in the U.S.'s interest or be a puppet to China? Can Elon Musk level the playing ground for the U.S. and China in the ongoing trade war? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do well to like this video and subscribe to this channel to get notified whenever we drop entertaining and educational videos like this. Thank you for watching and check out our other videos on this channel.